me find out these directors taking money from kids or these parents. Mm-hmm. Yo,
What's up, brother?
what's good, man? How you doing?
Chilling, man. Another day in paradise, man.
Yeah, look like you at the crib.
Oh yeah, man. I just got in like an hour ago,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
How your AAU off season been? I guess
Oh,
recruiting, all that.
man. I think for everybody, man, it's different this year, man.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
yeah. Look,
yeah,
the
yeah,
horses got out of the
yeah,
gates early this year.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
it is what
Why?
it is.
Why you think that?
Uh, man. This club stuff is fluid as heck, man. I think, there's a lot of different clubs, a lot of clubs,
Mm-hmm.
too many clubs. So you sit around, you wait till the last minute. Hey, you're gonna be on the outside looking in, man. So but it's not just about recruiting, man. It's retention too.
Mm-hmm.
So you got some kids, that kind of get stuff done. You got to make sure holding them in place too. What's up, Ash?
Hey.
Bro. Yeah, man. It's gonna be an interesting season, man. Put it like that.
Very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, of course, the topic is basically how many people is too many people on the team. But we're gonna kind of just talk in general.
Yeah.
Since you are in the AAU space, what is that? What is your process? Like you said, we were just talking about the AAU space is looking real different this year compared to any other year for the most part.
Yeah.
I know coming out the AAU season, it's soon, literally September, beginning of September, y'all was posting tryouts, just kind of talk about that as a program. Why so early?
Yeah, man. I'll say this, and I've been saying this for a few years, man. I think Texas is a little behind in that. So I got
Somebody else said that the other day.
I got
Behind?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got counterparts, other parts of the country, man. They get their teams done early. Only in Texas, man. Everybody, I want to wait the high school season finish. I don't want to hear nothing about club ball, but summer ball is supposed to be so important. But you got to wait till high school ball is over and make your decision in a couple of weeks.
Right.
Can I
Oh,
talk about that though real quick?
go ahead.
So now I don't necessarily disagree, but I think it's hard because just like when it's summertime, a lot of program directors, myself included, when I had a team, would be mad when high school coaches is trying to do something with the kids and it's AAU time. So do you not think that's the same thing while it's high school time right now? And how come?
And I heard, I was chiming in when y'all had that talk. I think y'all had my guy Marcus and
Yeah.
another coach on. Man, so I've coached high school for years. I coach high school.
Public school?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah. I did. That was years ago. Man, I've been doing this 20-some years, man. So I've done a little bit.
Okay.
So, I look at it a little differently, man. I'm one of those, I'm just sorry. And it's not popular. It's not a popular opinion, but man, I just wish everybody would stop saying, oh, it's this group's time and this is this. Oh, it's AAU clubs. It's their time. It's high school time. Me personally, the only thing that ever rubs me wrong is conflicts. Other than that, I don't care. If it's during club ball, and this is coming from someone this a couple of years ago, man, the best kid I had on my 16U team, I won't say her name, but the best kid I had on my 16U team was in the middle of club ball. This is right after live period in April. She was doing some kind of thing with her high school team. This is right after live period. She tore ACL.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So that impacted our team heavily.
Right.
I could either get in my feelings about it, why was she doing high school stuff? Stuff happens.
Right.
For me, I don't care about high school teams can do whatever they want to do as long as it's not when we're doing something, that's when I have a problem. If like I respect high school ball in their time, but if a high school program has a kid from Monday through Friday and I want to get them for a couple of hours on a Sunday, what's
That's
the
fair.
problem? What's the problem? You know, you guys can be like, oh, I don't want to do this. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we want these kids to be better. We want them to be ready for college, right?
Mm-hmm.
And y'all know what the college grind looks like. You know what I'm saying? And you got to juggle a lot of stuff. So, yeah, kid may have to do some hours at the high school, may have to do a couple hours with their club every once in a while, a couple times a month, and keep up with homework and all stuff. But the more prepared they are to do that now, the better they are when they go to college. So
True.
I know people, you know, are on different sides of the fence with that, but you'll never hear me getting my feelings about, oh, why is so and so school doing something with the kids? I don't care. As long as it's not during the time when we're doing something, if we communicate that, you know, the high school knows, hey, this is when they're doing something club wise, and we do some. I
Yeah.
don't care. You know, it's up.
And I think the biggest thing is like I know one of the issues I ran into was spring league. A lot of them will have spring league games and it's the same time as practice for AAU. And to me I think that it would put the kids in a bad situation
I got
because
to pick,
they got to pick. So I think that that's probably the biggest thing
but
where you got spring league and you got summer league.
you know what, Ash? Like people on our level, I know with the kids like on our top teams, especially our 17s, like their high school coaches, like I got
Yeah.
relationships with them. We don't have to be best friends and all that kind of stuff, even though I have some that I get along with really, really good. But there at least has to be some kind of dialogue,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Understand where they're coming from and vice versa, and then it's okay. But I mean, again, I'm not sending a shot at anybody, but if you're with a club and your director can't even build a relationship with your high school coach,
Mm-hmm.
how are they going to talk to colleges? They can't even bridge that relationship. And you can say it's not important, it is important.
It
Like I
is
have
Wait,
dealt with
what's important?
the
the high school
relationship.
coach and the relationship with the high school coach. Because I swear, like if I'm saying something about a kid and then a college goes and talks to their high school coach and they say something different and it's not aligned, that's an issue. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So, you know, you have to have that kind of communication. Not, you know, again, you don't have to be buddy and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, man, it's work, you know, on our level, director, on top of everything else we have to do. Um, yeah, but it's important. You gotta have a relationship with the high school coach. It's just that's just what it is.
Got you. So you basically saying no matter the time of the year, you're gonna touch the kids regardless. In like no matter if it's high school season, AAU season, whatever the time is, like because at the end of the day, you're trying to build your roster out. I mean, supposedly Texas is behind.
Well,
Um,
again, it depends on what you're doing. So, I mean, again, I'm being raw with it.
hmm
This is like our top teams, right?
hmm
Like I'm trying to figure out our top and what our top teams are going to look like, and you know who's going to be there, and you know from an organization standpoint, if you know parents and stuff want us to have our stuff together and be organized and do this, the sooner we know who we're rocking with, the easier that process is. When it comes to the recruiting stuff, I'm telling you, I have more time now during high school season to talk with coaches than I do during club season.
hmm
You know what I mean? So, and I can leverage off of talking to schools now because I got schools I'm talking to now. I'm like, hey, yo, you know, I got a kid playing here and here on this date, and the colleges go see him. That's now during high school season. So you
Right.
have to be able to leverage that. If you're not doing anything until club season, man, I'm not saying maybe you're not doing a good job, but there's more you can be doing.
Yeah, and I think for the most part, I think a lot of, I mean, the ones that I know are going out to the high school games. They're still talking to colleges, still trying to get some of their kids offers, especially like some seniors, late seniors or whatever. So I think most programs, the top programs anyways, are they have to do that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? In order to keep their business in a way going, like you know what I'm saying, like on the stand on the top.
yep,
So
yep.
I got a question. I kind of talk to this about with another AAU director. How do you actually recruit for each team? I know I was talking to one director. He was like, "Oh, she was a 26." or 27 or something that was too old or something for his top team. I think I think she was a 26, but she was decent though. And he was like, oh, she was old. Like that's old in his books to recruit for that certain level of his top team. So how do you recruit based on your top level team? So say for instance, um, let's say she's a 26, but she's kind of there, but not there. Are you taking a chance on that kid to put them on your top team?
Well,
If
hopefully, man.
that makes sense.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, hopefully, and I say this with the guys in our program, we want to be 10 toes on the ground. The easiest way for us to recruit, like, I hate tryouts, right? And I say that to my coaches. I hate tryouts. Like, if we have to have a tryout, and I'm talking about for our top
Right.
teams, we have to have a tryout to find girls, we're in trouble. Like, we should be on the ground. We should kind of know who's who if we're doing our due diligence and we're out and, looking at games where we're supposed to and all that kind of stuff. But I think to your question, because you were talking about like there's a kid
They
and
like borderline. Like they
borderline.
borderline like could possibly play that top team. And it's like, do you want to take a chance on it? So then it go back to the main topic is, do you keep that kid and kind of play them limited minutes, or do you like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how many is too many? You know what I'm
I was
saying?
getting into it
Because
now.
you don't want too many of those kids on your team because now you facing the chances of losing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I mean, again, I think it helps for everybody. Just again, we're talking top teams for parents, kids, all stuff to understand. Like, look at how clubs recruit for their top teams like colleges do. If you look like that, I think it'll help a little bit better. We're all trying to recruit to win, right?
right.
It just depends on the club. I know with us, me, I've never tried to recruit like a roster 1 through 10 where everybody had to be like a 5-star. That's never been my thing. I think the coaches we've had in the program, they can coach. That's another part of it. So the better you can coach, the less reliant you are on having to get kids here. Because
That's a good point.
yeah,
That's a very
you
good point.
can make it do what it do. So with us, we try to build teams. We get some kids to fall in our lap that are like super, super talented. Yeah, we want to pull them in. So if we get a kid and they're kind of on the borderline, it just depends if they fit.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want a kid to be on the team and they're not getting burned. I mean, and help me out here, Ash. Like the slack on it tightens up a little bit the older you get. So
Yeah,
like 15U, okay, yeah, we can maybe have a kid and kind of figure it out. 17U, it's that last summer. It's like, yeah, you shouldn't be doing that.
I agree.
And maybe 16U to a degree, depending on where the kid's recruitment is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't know if they're kind of middle of the pack. I don't know. Every kid is different, but I've taken some kids that people thought were middle of the pack, like
Right.
Kendall Mosley, right? She played with us last year. People are like, oh, she's middle of the pack. Man, Kendall's been a killer,
Yes.
like for as long. Like
Blew
she's
up.
not new to me, and she came and she had a crazy season. No one in the program was surprised. You
But you
know
had
what
a
I mean?
couple kids like that in your program. I'm giving you your flowers for that. Like you had Natalia, you had
Yeah.
McKendall, like you had a few kids that like Alicia,
Oh yeah.
like you had like 3 kids for like blow up
Yeah.
like during the summertime. So kudos to your organization and
Appreciate it.
development and whatever y'all doing over there. Whatever you're doing, y'all work is working. So keep doing
Appreciate
what you're doing for
it.
sure.
Appreciate it.
So how many kids did you have on your 17s?
This year we finished up, and there was a little bit of fluidness, but 8. We finished up with 8.
What's the most you had?
That's what I was about to.
At any time, our number was at 9.
You said what?
9.
9. Why was that the number that you wanted to start the summer with?
You know what, man? I head into it every year. I think our target number is 9. In a perfect world, the best number is 8. And if you're talking about top team, right, the best number is 8. Because rotation wise, you good. Everybody can get out there, sweat.
8
You know,
For schedule though like that, you think that's
well, see,
perfect?
that's the if perfect. I mean, perfect meaning there's no injuries, because
Okay,
injuries,
that's what
schedule
I was gonna say.
conflicts, that's where it gets dicey. You know,
Mm-hmm.
'cause you miss one kid, then you in trouble. Seven is,
Mm-hmm.
and we ran, and honestly, with our team this year, because we had 8, right? We finished with 8. We had a couple of tournaments, man. We're like 7 kids. One was
Mm-hmm.
6. You know what I mean? And it's tough.
So do you? So I guess in that position, like you said, the ideal number is 8 because of rotation. So when you get down to the nitty gritty of things, and let's say injury comes to play, like do you? Because I mean, and again, parents come on, you know what I'm saying, go on vacation, whatever the case may be. That kind of takes away, you know what I'm saying? Because parents think at the end of the day, it's kind of like this is their break time to be able to travel with the parents. So kind of like when you say 8, like you dealing with a lot of different factors. When it comes to, and I think a lot of directors would say 8. And then you got your few that would say,
I'm with
I don't know.
Kabina, my number 10.
10, you can't go wrong at 10.
I think 10 is perfect.
You can't, but you know
But the
what
right
though?
10. You gotta have the right
But
10.
you know what, Ash? Even like I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like I'm not even gonna cheat y'all. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. Like 10 is an ugly number if you got a hellified schedule. Even if it's the right kids, right? Because
Mm,
you got kids coming out there and they cooking, say 1 through 10, all of them can go. You're number 1 and you're number 2. They out there and they cooking, and it's like they not tired. They
yeah,
But that's why I said with the right
yeah,
kids,
yeah,
you can't have 10
yeah.
elite kids. That's why I said with the right
yeah,
kids. You
yeah.
gotta
But that's
have
still that's still tough though with
it's
10.
not.
It,
It's
it
not at all.
10's
10
tough, Ash.
is
Hey,
10
it's
is, let me
tough.
tell you why. Let me tell you why 10 is
With the
tough because
right
it go
kids,
back to
again.
what Rich was talking about. He was like, if your main
With the
players, it,
right kids.
with let's go every AAU team in Texas, or yeah, even just in Texas, their top teams have at least 2 people that's gonna play majority of the game.
Mm,
That's off top. So
Yes, and then
you can't say the right 10
yeah, I'm
because that's
saying the
not
right
even
kids. No,
realistic.
I'm not. The right kids don't mean the best kids. The right kids
You
mean the
mean the
right
ones
kids. The
that
right kids for the
fit
team.
into the culture of the team?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the right kids don't mean the best kids.
Everybody is not trying to get 20,
Right,
25
exactly.
minutes a
I'm
game.
not saying
Yeah.
the right kids of all top
Yeah.
10 kids. I'm saying the right
Yeah.
kids, the right team. You can have 10. Look
Hmm.
at, I look at
Have you
all
ever
our
have
what.
you ever ridden with 10?
Who?
Are you talking to me or Rich?
Ask for me.
Ash, have you ever
Yes,
ridden? Have
yes,
it, did all of them play?
yes, yes.
So what? So the one that played the least minutes, how many minutes did they play
I mean, I don't remember. I would probably say
on the average?
I
I mean, because
don't
you
know,
got your blowout
but
games that they'll probably play a little bit more.
right. Right. I mean, I don't know, but I would say obviously oh my God, the least amount of kids. I mean, the kid that got the least amount of minutes, she still got enough minutes. That kid is still playing college basketball right now. Like,
But
so
is that based off your relationship or her ability
no,
to play
she
basketball?
still was able to perform enough where coaches got to see her.
You know what, though, Ed? Like, real talk, like, again, perfect world situation, you should be able to run 10, but it's not perfect. Parents are a trip.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You can have a kid that's getting 10 minutes a game and their recruitment is great. It's, the connectivity is popping, and then they're unhappy because they want to play more,
Yeah, I
and
do
go
agree with
somewhere
that.
So
where they,
you saying even if you had 10, there's always going to be a problem.
I'm gonna say, like in club ball, just because it has structure, there's like you're never gonna win completely.
If
It's
you
always
got
gonna be
8,
a
there's
problem.
gonna be a problem.
There's gonna be a problem.
It's
Yeah,
always
it's
gonna be
always
a
gonna be
problem.
something.
So why not go with 10? What,
You know,
so
it
matter of
just
fact, let's get off the number 10. When we see these football teams on the sideline, let's
First of
we
yeah.
all,
yeah, when we see these football teams on the sideline, that's
I made a post. Actually, it was just a clip from a podcast that Roland. Y'all in here, go listen to Roland's podcast. But the clip, he just said that teams with 12 people and the kids not playing, they're not getting any better. And that is going crazy. So that's another reason why we like, okay, how many is too many? Because everybody in the comments, programs is like 12 is a good number. You get better in practice, all this different stuff that I don't personally agree with. I too think 12 is too many. Like you
12 is too
you
many.
cannot tell me at a high level you're gonna play 12 kids.
You know what? I'll tell you,
Rich, you
Ash.
playing 12 kids?
You know what I tell you, Ash? So I'm gonna spin it to you this way. 12 is cool. And there can
Absolutely
be,
not.
but hold
Absolutely
on. Let me
not.
explain. Let me
Okay.
explain though. Let me explain. So 12 is cool if everyone understood what the mission was. So I'm gonna spin it like this, and this is 1,000% the truth. There are some kids out there that could come play for a 7TU team, and there's a couple of programs out there that I think do a really good job. And you could be a 12th man on the roster, and you can finish the season a better player than if you went and started on other teams.
Okay. So let me
But
stop right there.
no, but I know what you're gonna go at. You're gonna go at, but the
No, no, no,
recruitment.
no, no, no. I
Okay,
agree with that. I do
okay,
agree with that part. I agree. Let's just say Texas U, for example. If you had 12 people on your team and number 12 was on your roster, I do agree that she would get better in your practice versus playing with Ashley
Mama,
Facts,
Elite.
AP.
Mama Pop, yeah,
Just
Mama
playing
Pop.
with Ashley Elite and she the best player that don't play in her. I agree with that. So that's not, I don't even think, and maybe that should be explained, but I do agree with that because I've seen those situations. However, if kid number 12, which is what you said I was about to get to, if kid number 12 wants to play college basketball and she just doesn't get on the court,
Yeah,
the coaches have to see. And that's the only thing. They have to see the kid. But I do agree
Well,
that a
kids, you're not
kid,
seeing no kid.
you're not
Somebody
seeing
ain't getting somebody ain't getting seen.
Davina. Uh,
What's up now? That my best friend. That my best friend.
Look, she looking all serious, man. Get out here looking serious.
what you got on this 12 team
Get on
roster?
get on their ass, Camille.
Absolutely not.
It's too many.
12 too many.
Too many. But
No,
like
it's
I
Too
said,
many.
I agree that you can't, a
for
kid,
club ball, it's too many. But
For high school, 15, well, 16 to 17 top teams, way too many.
oh yeah,
For middle school, you could probably do that because they're not committed anyway.
Hell, you got some high schools that ain't committed. Even
But not on the top team. 12 is way too many. You're not going to get kids if you, one of the very first questions people ask is, how many
how
kids
many
going to
on
be
the
on the
team?
team?
Yep.
You say 12, that's not happening.
yeah, yeah.
you're not getting no top players if you have 12 people, 12 players on the team.
How
Hell
they gonna
no.
play?
How
How
do
I
everybody
said
gonna
I
they,
said top players. I said
exactly.
top players.
You're
I said if you got
not.
But you know what? It's so many.
You're not.
So let me give you an example. So I'm gonna throw a question at y'all. So say you got top team, you got 10 kids that can hoop, and we'll just say it's this year. So your top team's
wait,
full of
I got one
26.
before you start.
Okay,
Did all your kids commit somewhere
all my kids committed.
from the eight man roster you had?
All are gone.
Congrats.
Yeah.
So
I got 9 out of 10.
and you got 9 out of
hey.
10. So these are your top teams, right?
Well, you saw my top team, yes.
Right. So
Wait, are you
and
about to ask a
you said you had
totally different question?
huh?
Are you about to ask a totally different question?
Yes. Was you about to ask something?
No, Rich was talking. You should let him finish.
No, I
I
was
want to
saying
hear what
before
he
he
got
got
to
started.
say.
I told him I said before he gets started, I want to because I wanted to get to a point of like you had 10, you had 8, correct? So I kind of see if all the kids get signed, I think at the end of the day, whatever's your number is good. I don't think everybody's getting signed from a 12-man roster.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but I also think that it's the grind of it's a team effort for these kids getting signed.
Mhm.
The misconception is, oh, my baby play AAU, she automatically gonna get to go to college, and that's a bunch of bull.
Yep.
It takes a
Yeah.
village. You can't play for a select coach, and they have zero connections on the top team. Then what the hell are you doing? You got to have some type of network.
Go ahead,
Yep.
Rich.
Yep. No, I was just gonna throw a scenario at you. So I'll throw it at Ash because I know Ash. Uh, she got that director blood in her. You got a team this year loaded with 26s, right? You got the top 2029. So that's 8th grader. 2029, right? Wants to play for y'all, wants to play 17s, right? You take her and make her 11?
It depends on what my 16s look like.
But what if they don't do 16s? And see, this is the other part
So
that, especially for Texas, is where it gets stupid. Because if you don't do it,
yeah.
someone else will.
So what I would do
So you take that loss,
to
right?
answer that in short, to answer that in very short, yes, I take her and make her 11.
Yeah.
But I'm having a conversation with my
About
9,
expectations.
my 9, 10, 11, or my 10, 11. Like at the end of the day, especially if I'm Texas U, I have to get the players. So if this 2029 is gonna help me win, and she wants to play for me, I'm taking her. But I'm also having a conversation with 10 and 11. If I've already told 10 and 11 they own this team, because that's just a hard conversation we got to have.
Yeah.
And it's up to that parent and that kid on what they want to do. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So 9 times out of 10, that conversation ain't being had
Right.
in that
Yeah,
situation.
I agree.
Right.
I don't
That's
think a lot
what
of
I
people have that
mean.
conversation.
And I think that is a hard conversation because the natural person you don't want to just be like, hey man, you know what I'm saying? I know I said you was on the team, but
But I
it,
don't think it's that hard to have, honestly, because you're gonna have to have a conversation
At some
at
point.
some point.
Some, yeah.
So why
Yeah.
not have that conversation? And again, if
wait,
that
why would
kid
you
wants,
have to have it though?
because the kid ain't gonna play,
When you get the live period,
and the
all them
kid sitting on
emotions
the
gonna mess
bench,
her up. Yeah.
now you having a different type of
Yeah.
conversation. So if you
Expectations.
have that conversation up front, and then you get to live period, and that kid, it ain't to say, hey, you not gonna play or whatever. It's just tell them how it looks right now, what your minutes look like right now. Now you get to live period, and that parent's still tripping. Now at least you had the conversation. But if you ain't had no conversation, and they on the team, they expecting something different. Now you're having a different conversation.
Yeah.
But most people are not transparent, and so they're not real about it. Which is why come April the AAU portal is so hot
Yep.
because people are not telling the freaking truth.
Yeah.
And that's why I think going to your number, Rich, of 9, I think if you can, I think it's good to start with that because kids are gonna move around.
Right.
So if you start with and that's if you want to pick up kids. But if you start with a roster of 10, 11, you ain't really got no wiggle room to pick up Ashley Roberts, who about to lead a team and can go help Texas U. So
Right, but I think most people that's been in this game a long time never start with 10.
I do
You're
agree.
always starting with
Yeah.
you're always starting with 7 or
Yep.
8 because April's coming.
Yep. Yep. That's true.
So unless you got a crew that has been with you for years,
Yeah.
you you never
Who
start
said?
with 10, 7 or 8,
Earl
and you
started
look
with
and
what,
always
6
pick
or
up that
7?
1 or 2.
I think last year Earl Pro Skills had like 7, 6.
So how many kids did you pick up after the live periods, Rich?
After the
Shit.
transfer portal.
Man.
That's what I was gonna say, but
Transport,
I just said it
transfer
myself.
portal hit us.
The AAU transport
Look,
portal.
they hit us. And I'll be honest, man, I think we had the best. Like you talk about free agent pickup, man. Look, we picked up, little Maddie out of Mansfield. We
Yeah.
picked her.
Maddie
She
Crawford.
was the lone young kid on our 17. She played great. We picked her up. We picked up Cherie Spencer,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Louisiana, who came. She did a crazy job.
Mm-hmm.
Then we picked up Miracle.
Mm.
You know, uh,
Where was Miracle playing before?
Trey Young.
yeah, she was
Trey
Trey Young.
Young.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, I mean, we picked those kids up, and they came in, and those were impact kids. Like
Yep.
Yeah.
they fit in, and they were good for the culture, and you know, so
Yep.
we got. But it doesn't always work like that. But I'll be honest. A couple of years in the last 5 or 6 years, that little April period where you pick up kids, man. Sometimes we've hit pretty good. You know,
Yeah.
to be honest. So.
So how many? So you picked up 3. How many did you lose?
We ended up losing. Shoot, we lost 3. So we lost 3 and picked
Lost
up
3.
3. Yep.
And Kavina?
Dude, this is the first year in 5 years that I had 10 kids. I always rode with 7.
Wow.
I
Dang, 7?
I went. I've been an Army of 7 for probably 8 years, and went to Adidas Nationals. Lost in the championship game in double overtime. 7 was the magic number until it got to the point to where these kids do too much and they get hurt. And so if you lose 2 kids because they can't play this week, because now track
Mm-hmm.
interferes and with the first live period.
That's
So if you got,
cool. Yeah.
you know, so if I got a kid, which I do, that's very good in track, and I only got 7, now I'm out here scrapping. Either I'm gonna fight with 6 during the live period, or I gotta pull some of my young kids
So
up.
why go with 7 though if you know you're gonna be in that predicament?
Well, this was the first year I didn't know. Is what I'm saying, because of those learning lessons. But I mean, I had a committed, loyal 7, so I didn't have those problems. So it was no need. I was cool with the 7. But when that class comes out and you try to keep that same template, it don't always work that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to change it up. So this was the first year I went with 10.
Gotcha. You feel like it was beneficial for you?
Pro
What
and
was
cons,
the
for
what
sure.
was the pros?
The pros is everybody. I believe in everybody playing. You
Mm-hmm.
witnessed that personally for yourself. I think the cons is kind of like what was discussed earlier in the aspect of, man, I got 2 or 3 kids that's hot. Y'all just got to be each other's biggest cheerleaders and just deal with it.
But
You know.
how do you go about telling a kid that on their last ride to try to get to a
But
school?
I think that's a culture that you establish from the
Nah,
beginning.
it's not like high school. That's not high school. This is
No,
they're paying money to get an
well, you're
opportunity.
assuming they're paying money.
Some
Don't
of them.
don't go there.
Some of them.
You're assuming.
Yeah.
So we
That's
can
not
so we
always
can
the
so we can
case.
get on that type of time too.
Yeah, man.
But
Before
that's
we
We
get
can
not
on that,
what this.
we can
That's
get on
not
that.
what this session is about, though.
We can get on that type of time
So
too.
you can take that session, do another one. That's not what this one's
But
about.
that ties into that though. How many kids is how many
now
kids?
that is a good point because there are some people. Now I won't convene to finish, but there are some people, which is why you have 11, you have 12, because you need 2 of them
To pay for
to pay for
that
the.
20 you let in for free.
That's true.
Is that secret?
No,
Is
I
that
don't think
not
so.
it's
okay?
not a secret.
Okay.
Now, before we get into that, because that is a whole nother
Go
topic.
Kavina,
Go
go ahead
ahead,
and finish.
Kavita.
Go ahead and
I
finish.
got some,
That
I got some stuff for that, but go ahead.
yeah. I mean, I didn't have that problem, okay? Because in the beginning, when you have your parents meeting or whatever, and you establish this with the kids, hey, if somebody is, man, the rim is as big as the gym,
You
man,
talking about
y'all just we
during the
gotta,
game?
yeah,
Oh yeah. That's
yeah,
basketball. That's basketball.
yeah.
That's basketball.
But we say that's basketball and we think that's so simple, but the truth is, parents don't see it that way.
But I think
Hey,
I
don't.
think
Hey,
during the parent meeting early in the year, like you gotta have those meetings. Like basketball is about feeding the hot hand. That's if you play, like that's what basketball is. I'm finding
But
a
you're
way to
dealing
feed
with a
who I don't care.
generation of
Yeah.
parents that half of them don't know anything about the dynamics of this.
you know what? Look,
Mhm.
I'll give you an example. Man, I had a kid. It just happened. She was 6'2". I think this was her sophomore year, and we're at Battle in the Borough, right?
Hmm.
We played. I forgot who we played, but it was a smaller team. They small balled us. It might have been FBC, right? Small balls. So we're like, okay, hey, I got to sit the bigs. We're gonna have to go guard for guard. It's just what it is. And this kid is a stud, right? She had to sit because she couldn't. It was just a bad matchup. Man, after the game, the kid crying, the mama crying. I get a call from the dad. Dad's like, Rich, what's going on down there? Blah, 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 blah. And this was a good family. Like, no unrealistic expectations, nothing like that. Never gave me issues. But people want their kids out there. And when I say this kid was a good kid, I'm like, look, just suck it up, dry your tears. You know what's going to happen. Next game played her. She had a double double. The kid actually ended up committing to a Power Five beginning of her junior season, right? So she was one of them kids. But I think it's just the worst thing sometimes about club ball is false expectations in parents, right? And not
Lack of knowledge.
lack of knowledge, and then understanding. Because again, if you can't get it at this level, that sometimes you're going to play it situational. Trust your coach to do it. You know, when you go to college, that definitely is the case. How are you going to adjust at that point? So we talk
True.
about the April transfer portal, but shoot, in college, you know, that's the real thing, and that's why that thing is so hot, because
Yeah.
people can't deal with expectations. And you know, not to say that's all that what happens sometimes, but you know, college rosters, man, those things aren't 10.
Yeah.
You know, them things
Yeah.
are long. So
Them things are
But
12,
I
actually.
think that situation is totally different from the AAU though. Like you're trying to get to that level. I think once you get to that level, now it's on you to kind of use that opportunity to get on the floor in a sense, because when you get these kids on the team, you know they can play at the high school level. Like you know they can play. That's why you got them on your team, unless you using them to pay for somebody else.
Well, so pin that, okay? Don't even go there with the pay stuff. Y'all, we do a whole nother podcast with the
look,
money,
that's a 2 hour
No,
with the
topic.
money
but
dynamic.
that goes
And
into
I'm
this.
not disagreeing with you, but stay on topic with that one,
Okay,
okay? Okay. My thing is, you. I have two sayings. Number one, kids don't leave programs; parents do.
that's true.
Number
I
one,
believe that.
okay. Number two, I don't prepare you for where you are. I prepare you for where you're going. So there's going to be situations where you might not get to play, and you need to be prepared. How are you going to respond if you made one mistake and the coach pull you out? You going to pout, or you going to be able to fight through that adversity and have a mature conversation with the coach and say, "Hey, coach, what's the deal?" Because the truth is, most of your playing time is coming from practice.
But how many times y'all really
I know the
practice though?
type of person you are from
How many
practice.
times y'all practice though?
What do you mean?
I
How
hope at
many
least
times do
twice.
how many club teams actually practice on a regular basis?
Majority.
Yeah, there's only a few that don't.
Majority. Majority do. Most of them do. There's some that, because they're all over. I mean, and Rich, you can chime in, but there's some that are all over that they'll practice or do something right before. Hell, if we honest, they practice it now.
Yep.
Let's just be honest about it. Let's be flat out honest. They're practicing now.
Mm-hmm.
It might be non-contact, but you're building some type of chemistry with your quote unquote future
Look,
teammates.
I'll keep it a buck. Like, we're not starting in February or March or whatever. We
Yeah.
start way before that.
Yeah.
Now, it's not going to be like Kavin saying all this contact and all this craziness, but if you want to be elite in, you know, I think for the clubs that pull from different areas, it's like you're never going to
It's
be able
tough.
to practice like twice a week. I know for us, we'll get together, we'll do 2 days on the, you know, for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. You know, get in
We'll
all
have
day, some hours on Sunday, and break them.
Yeah, we have a boot camp. Well, you were part of it. We have a boot camp,
Yeah.
especially when you got fresh new faces. You can't go into, let's just use the prime of Texas, and with one practice, you'll get mollywalked.
So do you do weekends count as practice?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anytime if that's a practice, it's a practice.
We
Got
doing
you.
straight up boot
So
camp.
do you think? So do you think? And now this goes back to the parents. So let's say the parent did play at another level, and they still having these, I guess, expectations. Should you? Let me say, I'm trying not to be funny about this, but like,
And just say it.
should you do like resumes, like each parent that you bring your kid on, like you say, hey, where have you played at? Since you got so much to
Why does it
say.
matter though? Why
It
does that
doesn't
matter?
matter. Doesn't matter. Hey, I'm gonna keep it a buck
I'm
without
just
throwing
I'm just
slugs.
asking.
Hey,
I'm just
hey,
asking.
hey,
Like
I'm
I
gonna
just
I'm gonna throw a slug. I've been in situations with guys that have played pro that don't have a clue how
Yeah,
to
I was
get it
gonna.
on
Yeah.
this level.
Yeah,
That
I was
don't
gonna
get it.
say that.
Just because you played and you good, and I think like I'll put that out for everybody. Just because you played and you were good doesn't mean you know how to develop and you know how to
Yep.
coach and run a pro. It doesn't. Like some of the worst people I've seen are people who have been to some of the
Yep.
highest levels.
Yep.
Like I'm
And some of
telling
the best people are like I always say that that's the same for coaching. Just because you played, I mean you can coach, and just because you didn't play, That don't mean you can't coach.
1,000%.
And I ain't gonna speak for Rich in his age, but when in my era, we didn't have AAU. Like it was when I was coming out of high school, AAU was just beginning. So the advantages and amenities that these young men and women have, we didn't have. We got our scholarships flat out of high school basketball, and that was it.
Yeah.
Got you.
So things have completely
So you don't
changed.
think so you don't think having a conversation with the parents, like what is that I guess what does that conversation look like? I don't say that if that conversation is needed, because I think that conversation is needed. So
Which
what is that
But what
conversation?
conversation are we
yeah, I
talking
was
about?
gonna say,
The
what is
one
the
the
conversation
one at
for?
the one at the beginning of the season, I guess.
I think that's just a parent meeting.
Like
Like
Yeah.
I don't.
what is said in those parent meetings?
Well, for me, and I guess y'all can
Yeah.
speak too. But for me, it's literally just a parent meeting. Like we're talking about the tournaments. We're talking about the season. What's going on in the season? I guess I'm not understanding your question. But if we're at the beginning of the season, that parent meeting is about the season.
So are you
What it looks like.
telling parents at the beginning of the season, hey, your kid may not play that many minutes?
No, I think
Why
that's
Oh,
not?
it.
I do.
Why
Well, I
not?
guess what.
I
Well,
do.
I guess I didn't understand what you.
That's what
Wait,
I'm
ask that
saying.
again.
What
So I do.
goes on into the conversation
Are
at
you
the
talking about
beginning?
a one-on-one or a group?
Group, whatever. Group
I
1-on-1.
If it's a
so I Neville and I, may he rest in peace. But the conversation that Neville and I would have with our parents is your player is guaranteed 3 minutes.
Damn.
Guaranteed 3 minutes. And that's if you come into
I'm
practice.
walking out.
You cannot come to practice and expect to play. Now, what you do with that time when you're on the floor is contingent on how long you stay on the floor.
Now I think
I
I would
tell
be
them
okay
production
if
plays. That's it.
you said what?
Production play. I tell them production plays. That's it. If you produce it, you're playing.
So you saying that at the beginning of the meeting, the group
Yeah.
meeting.
When I have a group meeting, like I'm going over season stuff, we're gonna go over. Like I have like a folder with expectations. All of that playing time is on there, and it's simple as production plays. If you are producing, you are playing.
So it says somebody.
Period. Point
Yeah,
blank. I
period.
agree, Ashley.
So and I agree with that, but I don't think a lot of people say up front with everybody sitting in front of them, hey, if your kid's not producing, they're not going to
I
play.
think
Or
they
if this,
do. But I think regardless, parents are still gonna complain. Like you can say it all you
no,
want.
because that parent, one of them, some parents don't leave from the jump. If that's the case,
Well, and that's a 50-50. That's that gamble that you're taking. But they can't say they
Right.
didn't know.
right?
Rich,
So that's what I'm saying.
what's
I don't think
your
a lot
voice?
of people have that
Right.
conversation up front to be like, hey, if your kid not doing what they supposed to be doing, or whatever, they not coming to practice, they not performing on the court, and you see they ain't playing, then that's the result in whatever. But I think that conversation needs to be had in the first group meeting. That way, nothing needs to happen. Like you know what I'm saying?
But you just said it though. You just said it. Most people are afraid to have that conversation because they're afraid that the parents are going to walk off and go someplace else.
Bye. I'll let you.
Well, I'm with you, but I'm a minority.
You know what, Ed? Like on a bigger viewpoint, I know with us, we're trying to get better. I think this year we'll flesh it out a little bit better, but like we're talking about kids we think on the front end, hey, you're not gonna get a lot of minutes. There's been kids I've had before, I'm like, man, they ain't gonna play a lot. And then by the end of the season, like that's my kid. That's my
Yep.
kid. Then
Yep.
it's been ones on vice versa. I'm like, hey, that's gonna be my anchor. Then I'm like, man, they not doing what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think what we have to do on the club space, just with expectations, because we aren't genies, we can't predict all this
For
stuff.
sure.
We got to be really good with with analytics, right?
Mhm.
Which doesn't happen a lot. We sit here and we talk about, oh man, this kid scored 30. Okay, but they shot the ball 40 times
Yeah.
or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. You know what I mean? Or, just explaining like what productivity looks like that's not done enough at our level at all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
Like, hey, this is what happens. I think every team that's worth their salt at a high level, I know,
But I think
like
it's
at UA, I
provided
think,
though, ain't it? Through
well,
synergy.
for EYBL, I know they do it. Synergy with UA, they do it. I'm pretty sure Adidas does as well. But that's just for that's just for league circuit games. When we're here, we're playing these games in our backyards. We're not doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
True.
parents are like, "Oh, my kid didn't play," but your kid was like 1
Yeah.
for 8.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Shit,
playing.
8 shots is a lot.
But we would make our jobs
And
easier. I know my convos would be easier. The coaches with me, their jobs would be easier if we steadily had analytics ready. And it's extra work, but
Yeah.
it's still all that.
That
so I did that,
that's yeah. Yeah.
and it may or he may know, but I did that after every tournament. I went and took all. I went back and watched the games, or my assistant went back and watched the games, and we did stats per game and did a cumulative for the whole weekend per player, and I handed it out to everybody. So if you were 25% from the free throw line, and if you took 200 shots in 5 games, but your shooting percentage from the 2 point field is 13, shit, you need to stop shooting or go back to the lab and work.
Yeah.
But numbers don't lie.
But
So if you're sharing this with your parents, those conversations are
yeah.
done right off of the top
Yeah.
because they're seeing, oh, my baby shot 150 times and only made 30 of them.
Hmm.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like on our end, and again, the door swings both ways, right? Because we get better at looking at analytics. Sometimes we have a kid and we think, hey, that kid wasn't productive, and we turn around looking like, dang, they were great.
Hmm.
They were cooking,
Yep.
and maybe I need to give them more minutes. So I think on our side, man, there are so many things, and that's a whole nother conversation. So many ways we can improve what we do in this space. And I think it's a responsibility across the board for us to get better. Because, like the great comparison is volleyball. Volleyball as a whole is ran a shit ton better than basketball.
Yeah.
It's ran better.
Absolutely.
I don't care.
Absolutely.
It's ran a
Absolutely.
shit ton better. Um,
Absolutely.
so we just have to do a better job kind of putting stuff out here and clearly defining what's what, and it goes both ways. So we can do a better job for the kids, but then so parents can have a clear path of understanding. There are parents that have went through the process, and I wish a parent that went through it could get on here, went through the process, their kid may have ended up in school. They have no flipping idea how it happened. You know
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
So it's having a clear path of how you get there. What does it take? What does it look like? Because right now, the picture and how parents kind of roll with this thing and how they think it's supposed to look for you to get, to college. Sometimes that don't add up, and that's when you get these people moving all the way around, making all these crazy moves and this, and that because they just don't know. You know what I mean? And it doesn't end when they get to college. There's issues there, and I mean, again, people at our level, this grassroots space, we watch them until they commit, right?
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
watch a little bit in their first. After that, you don't pay attention. Some of these kids struggle
Yeah.
big time, and
Hmm.
that's on us. Like I take it personal. Like if I got kids, they show them like shit. What? Like the preparation wasn't there because they should be able to go there and thrive and do better. But
Hmm.
between entitlement, overhypeness, all this other stuff, man, these kids all the time aren't prepared the best way they could be. You know,
And I wanna, and I only say this because at the end of the day, AAU is ran something like a business, and I think some high schools like work hard, high school coaches work hard, but I think when you in that AAU coaching space or AAU director space, like I feel like you obligated to do a lot of things, because you're getting paid in a sense to put their kids on the
I
platform.
don't agree with that.
I do, I do,
Just
because
like,
it's because
Because most AAU directors or coaches do not
and
get paid.
even if they
man,
did, a
come on,
director.
man, you get paid something
Okay,
though.
okay, but
You getting
okay,
fees
let me.
coming in every
Okay,
month.
let's go there. Let's go there.
You
Let's go
get
there. Let's
you
go
get
there.
paid. You
hey,
Okay,
get
we
wait,
can
wait, wait,
go
wait. Let's go
there.
there.
We can go.
Let's go
Get
there.
it,
Let's
Ashley.
say.
Get it.
I'm not saying you're
Get it.
gonna be a millionaire off this stuff, but
Listen.
I'm saying
Okay,
you
let
getting
me go.
paid something.
Let's say they are getting paid, and let's say they getting paid
Uh,
$10,000.
month
No, total
throughout the
$10,000.
whole summer.
throughout the whole
Off the
summer.
whole summer?
Correct?
Huh?
Then
That,
me and
that,
Rich in the
that,
wrong
that's
business.
profit?
Let's say profit.
So you
$10,000.
profit. So you profit for the summertime. 10
$10,000.
bands. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. That's all.
Right?
Yeah.
And the season is from, and I'm just gonna say when
March to
season starts,
July.
March to July. How many months? Let's just say that. Let's just say that's when. Let's just go there. March to July. How many months is that?
5.
5 months. $10,000 for 5 months. That's not a lot.
That's
Whereas if a
nothing. That's
high school
nothing.
coach, that so you're basically saying what's the high school coach obligation if they're getting paid a salary? Like I think that's the misconception.
But I think
Wait. A lot of people think AAU directors and AAU coaches is getting paid all this money when that's not true. And even if they are getting paid, for the majority of them, 90% of them, that number is not even over 30,000. Not even close to that. For 5 months. You saying you telling me for half of my year, I'm running a program, I'm doing all these for these kids, I'm talking to coaches all day long, I'm making sure stuff for half of the year.
nobody told you to start that program.
But no, but
Hey,
you just said
Nobody told you to start.
obligated.
Nobody
hey,
told you to
But
start
you
that
just said
program.
but you know
That
obligated.
was
what?
by choice. So yes,
Hey,
you're obligated. It's a business,
but
Go
right?
Ed,
ahead, Rich.
It's a
but
business,
look,
right?
but look, this is the deal. So again, it's the problem with basketball, and I'll say it like straight up, and I won't go into the reasons why, but there's some kind of sentiment out here that people that work in this basketball space, we're supposed to be like nonprofit doing this
Yes,
stuff at good
like it's
stuff.
supposed to be
Look,
free.
but
I never said
look,
nonprofit.
I've worked high corporate level jobs, worked real estate. I can tell you with the club stuff, when I'm clocking and doing what I need to do, I work harder on club stuff than in the real sector.
Absolutely.
And when you compare volleyball, there are people that do the same thing that I do, same thing
Making
Kavina does, the same
triple
thing,
the amount of money.
making triple, and nobody over there is tripping. But basketball, we have an obligation to sit here and bust our tails and not make anything, be held to all these standards. People don't want to pay. And
Yep.
again, that's the problem with basketball. That's why some of these issues won't get straight. And I think because it is saturated, there are a lot of people out there that don't know what they're doing and that just want to pick it up because at the earlier stages, and I'll talk about something blue in the face, from third grade to eighth grade, man, if you got some kids that can play, you can maybe get away with look like you know how to coach,
Uh-huh.
right? And press and all this kind of stuff. When you coach at a certain level, you get on these circuits, like the stuff I'm talking about, your ass will get out coached in a second and you'll look like a fish out of water,
Yep.
right? Quick.
Hmm.
So when you do that, then like I look at, because me and Kavina, we talk a lot. When you talk about the organization of the program, you're a dang travel agent. You're doing
You
all these different things
everything.
and pulling all this. It takes time. Then you're an agent. You got to talk to colleges all the time. I don't think people know how much work it takes just to work through a certain, like if I'm just trying to get a kid in an SEC school, I'm just take 3 conferences and I'm talking to them about one kid. Do you know how many hours of conversations that is for one kid?
But
And
that's
then
by
you
choice, though.
But you
no,
just
it,
Nobody,
said, but you
it,
just
nobody
it,
said
told you
it,
to do
you just
this.
said that they're obligated.
no
No,
one tells anyone
right?
what
So
to
you're
do.
obligated to do
Oh,
that. That's
yeah,
choice.
absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
choice.
And you should get paid.
You should
Facts.
get paid. You should get
And
paid.
Oh,
way
okay, yeah.
more and
Yeah.
way more than what you do get paid. And for people not to
So
say, oh, it's a
so volleyball. So
but listen.
volleyball did.
But that's why people say, oh, it's a money grab. Oh, it's a scam. Oh, it's that. Oh, they just doing this to make money. Like,
You know why I would go to Rich? All his players went to the next level. They committed to the next level. So if you're putting in the work and they're getting to the next level, I'm going to them. If you can't provide no services like that, why am I coming to
But
you? I ain't
that's
coming to
not.
you.
Again, the misconception is that that's all put on the AAU select coach, and that is not
at all.
fair. We have a we have a part in it, but we should not be solely responsible for getting your sons and daughters to play at the next level.
You just play a part. That's it.
We play a small part, low key, but our part is vital because we're putting in more hours than most.
Way more. It ain't even close.
You know what, Ed? I'll tell you this. I ain't putting nobody on
Mm-hmm.
blast, especially my own program. but we have like a little system we do when it comes to recruiting and connectivity and stuff, and it's clearly defined. This is what we do. This is what the kid does. This is what the parent does. And we have to constantly reinforce that because sometimes parents don't do their part or kids don't do their part.
But what if
And when
that parent don't know? So what if you get a
that,
cold? What if you
Then
get
but
a
that's
cold?
the
freaking
education.
ask.
What if
But
you get
that's
a
the
cold? What if you
education
get a
piece.
cold kid, right? You get a cold kid, and that parent just don't. They ain't know nothing. They don't know nothing about basketball. It's like, all right, shit. This is my job to get this kid to the next level, and they gonna help me win ball games. And hell, they may even be playing for free. So it don't like you know what I'm saying. Like that's just part of the
But
game.
most parents, Ed, that don't know, they come out and tell you, I don't know anything about this.
Exactly.
I was a soccer player, or I I read, I did
Right.
Yahtzee or a chess player, whatever the heck that is. That most of them come out and tell you, but like on the cool, like it does take a village, like what Coach Kelly said. But the other part that we don't get paid for, that we're doing, is parenting your kids that are in broken homes. As Son Ya, whoever that individual is, just made that point. Man, we out here parenting these kids
But
too.
that's part of the game, though. That's part of it.
Uh, no, not necessarily.
What?
That is just a calling that we choose to
But that's just
do.
like a high
It ain't
school.
my
That's just like a
responsibility
high
to be
school.
mom and daddy to you too. Yeah.
You trying to hop on, Sonya? You want to get on? Yeah, we can interview you too. Come on. You can hop on. Send your request in. One of the people
I
gonna get off. But anyway,
if he wanna or he or I think it's a he. If he wanna hop on, I'll hop off.
yeah.
Just let me know if he hopping on.
Sonya, if you want to send your request in to conversate, we'll gladly hear your voice. But yeah. But yeah, I just feel like I'm not saying it's all on the AAU coach, but I do think y'all held to a higher standard in a in this basketball
I agree
space.
with that.
That's just me
I
personally.
agree with that.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but the pressure, just like a kid, the pressure of a kid trying to pick their schools, that's taxing. That is
Yeah.
draining. It should not be solely on us.
Okay, so we go back to what is AAU for? Oh, so they sent the
All
request.
right,
Somebody hop off.
I'll hop off.
All right, bet. Get off. All right. So my thing is like that's part of it. I think you had you. So we want to go. We'll go biblical. If you held to a higher calling, your path is going to be harder. Correct?
No, just because you're held to a higher calling, it's more responsibility, but that doesn't mean that it makes it easier to do.
Right. So he gonna give you the strength to get through it. He never said it was gonna be easy.
But that's in anything. That ain't got nothing to do
Right.
with
So
sports.
that's
That's
a so
life.
AAU coaching is a choice. He gave you a
It,
gift to
it
love
is
kids.
it is a calling. You have to love what you do and these kids, because anybody will tell you. Every time come April and May, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Why do I do this? Because it's just like, why? It's so many ungrateful people. You out here doing everything in your power to keep kids happy, parents happy. You're providing every service you can,
And that's why it's a big
and it's
it's
like,
why it's a
why?
bigger calling than yourself.
And can I
Eh,
interject and share something?
Go ahead.
yes,
That is why
ma'am.
I paid $360 a month for my daughter to sit on the bench for a couple seasons with her travel team, with the coach that I had her sit with. She wasn't going to play. He told me she wouldn't play much because she's not developed. She's not ready. She didn't have confidence. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's not ever going to gain confidence sitting on the bench. But then I kind of thought about it from a different perspective because I'm very analytical. So I thought about it from like, well, what is the pro of her sitting on the bench? And I said, observation. What do you do great? What has always taught you? Observing. Always doing a go see. You observe and you watch by learning. You take note. You see it repetitively and it becomes muscle memory in your mind. So as she's been working on her skill set, and she's kind of doing it Steph Curry way, she's working on her mechanics, and then she will pee on it later on. And now she's in ninth grade. She just started about 2 years ago. It's been a struggle. But I will say that I'm okay with investing money. As from my perspective, I don't expect her to play. I expect my daughter to watch and learn. And that's what I expect her to do. But as a parent, I also know that I need to give my daughter the space to be who she is and to figure it out. I'm not going to rush her journey because, like you said, if it's her anointing, her calling, it's going to happen when God says it's going to happen. There's nothing I need to do. The more I do, I just F it up. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and just trust now. But I do watch coaches because my daughter's also been emotionally manipulated and bullied and violated and has gone through a whole mess of stuff. So as a mom, I've had to reserve and make rights also to pull my daughter from a team I didn't want to pull her from, but I had to make that decision because enough abuse is enough abuse from certain people. So I really do appreciate Ashley, who jumped off because she's changing the game. And I think what it is for y'all who are really dedicated to what you do and that you really love what you do, you have the passion. But there are people, just like there's false prophets and there's false shepherds. You have all these people who are in there for the wrong reasons. They're really in there to exploit their own children, to develop them, and to really seek money and fame, and not for the right reason. And I think that y'all,
You are
and I'll keep
absolutely
it
correct.
really short because I could just talk forever, and I'll hop off so she can hop back onto the call. But I just want to say that y'all are doing the right thing, and what y'all are doing is you are setting the standard and be those gatekeepers, preserve this game, and be the right coach. Y'all got to set a standard, come together, and it does take a village. Y'all have eyes everywhere and ears everywhere around the country. Do your job, set a standard, and don't let these people who don't belong there, get rid of them. I mean, that's what we've always done in the corporate world. If they don't belong, you get rid of them. You get people in that actually care. And I think Brianna Garza said it best. Hold these other coaches accountable. If you see them doing these things, or you hear about somebody who's scheming people, even on a multi-level marketing team, trying to throw things under a nonprofit to make it look like they really are really a business person who cares. I mean, have that conversation with them. Set a standard. We need to be kind. We need to do things in love. We need to be kind. Sometimes kindness doesn't mean being nice, but we still be kind, forgiving. It's okay. People make mistakes. They're human. We forgive them. If they continue to do that, then we know who they are, right? And so I just think that we really just need to really embrace this, like, unity and kindness in this organization. Say, what do we want the organization to stand for? Because if you just let anyone in, y'all are cheapening who you are. I want to pay for people like you guys. I don't want to pay for Joe Blow who just wants to see his senior daughter and niece make the next squad or next level. You know what I mean? That's not what I'm paying for. So keep doing what you guys are doing.
God bless you.
Conversations. I
That's good
appreciate it.
stuff.
If y'all
So
God
I do
bless
got one
you.
go for
question.
it.
I do got one question for you. So you said your daughter just started her freshman year, correct?
So she started
So
in her junior, I'm sorry, junior high. She was like a seventh grader. She just went, she didn't know anything. She just knew throw the ball in the basket.
right. So what grade is she in right now?
She is just in her ninth grade year and she's on off. And I'm so excited.
Got you.
Everybody else in my city is like varsity, varsity, varsity. And I'm like, nah. The best way to learn the business is to do every single part of it. And that's how you really gain knowledge and you understand. I love her journey and I love that she's crossed off. And I love that so many people have said she doesn't have the skills. I love that many people have said that she has the skills. And I love just watching her grow during her journey and trying to force it. She's just my little flower and she's going to blossom like a plant. She's going to make her own timing. I can't tell my plants to grow like that. So she's a plant. She needs sun, water, light, and she's made of dirt.
Right. Got you.
Well, I want to pour into you a little bit. Number one, thank you for your transparency. Number two, you're different. You're exactly what Ashley needs to give you a shirt that says different. If not, we'll figure out to get you one. And your daughter. Number three, you said something very powerful in the aspect of doing it the right way. You're investing now for the future. And a lot of parents are not realistic in that. And so your daughter's already going to be ahead of the curve because you are a realistic
Mm-hmm.
parent. So my encouragement to you is, like Coach Kelly said, do a parent session. Gather those people where you are and educate them and say, hey, fast is not always the best. Slow and steady. So kudos to you, Ashley. We need to get her a shirt or
Thank you so
something.
much. I appreciate that. But yeah, again, y'all set that standard. I think you just said it too. Y'all are standing at that door. You have the keys to the door right now. You set the standard and don't let anybody in your house. Keep the people out of your house that don't need to be in the house robbing the people. It cheapens who you are and what you're trying to do. There should be a standard. Like, I mean, unfortunately, We see that there's no standard in many places, but why not just start to create standards in the areas and communities where we can do that and we have the ability to do that? If we can't trust in those higher places politically to be able to help us and nobody can agree, why can't we just start to do things in kindness and love and integrity and motion?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because you said it already. Most of these people are doing it for their kids. They don't care about nobody else but their
I could
kids.
totally give you a different. Ashley, text me or call me, DM me, whatever. All right, I'm gonna hop off. She can hop on. Thank you guys. Thank you also.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
That was awesome.
Let me see.
Hey, I think that was a benediction, dude. She let us
Hey,
have
Hey, you hear me? Got on here and sit behind.
it.
Listen.
And use the word.
sure did.
Listen, Sonya, is it Sonya? We should have asked this. Sonya got on here
Preaching.
preaching. First of all,
That's
But
pretty
nah, I
good.
thought it was dope though. Like I do think it is levels to that. Like she said, her baby was a freshman this year. So last year she was 14. She was in 14U, whatever that level is.
she dropped
So
it
I
on the
think
mic for
like
sure.
she looked at it as an investment. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like she's in the learning curve. So I think that level is different from 17, 16U. Like I think the pressure is dialed down a little bit compared to when you are at the 16s and 17U level. So yes, your child is at a growth standpoint, like they're in a development standpoint on and on. But I do think like doing it that way is better. Like, yes, you're sitting and learning, but I think when you get to those higher levels, like I think you gotta play. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta find a way to get on the floor. Like
I agree.
you know what I'm saying? So I think like it's different stages to this process. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it's cool. Like, all right, you paying that money to sit and invest at the 14U level. That's cool. But like you can't be paying no 300, 400, $500 a month to be riding the bench at 16, 17U level. You know, like
If you want to play college basketball and that's your goal.
yeah, like that's just me personally. Like I'm not gonna pay that money to sit on the bench at 16 and say, oh, I can learn or I'm gonna get better in practice. Like nah, like I gotta be able to play. And it sucks because I think she did say something valuable. Like the game is watered down. Like from all these organizations, from the style of play, from the kids. Like I don't think there's enough grit or enough mental strength or mental toughness in the game. So I think that's hurting the game as well. So like I said, like and it's hard to keep people out because it's so easy to put a team together.
And
But
so
look,
that's
that's
it.
like again back on volleyball because I just kind of crossed over and looking over to how they do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like even from the clubs that are associated and who can run, it
Mm-hmm.
is like anybody can get together and say, "Hey, I'm
Yep.
creating the AAU club." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody, you know. And I hate to put people in our fraternity on blast, but there are not a lot of us that know what they're doing.
Yep.
Some well intentioned, but not well
And the
equipped. Right?
parents don't know that though.
Absolutely.
And the
You know what I'm
parents
saying?
don't know.
And the parents don't know. They say, "Oh, it's an opportunity for my baby to play." All right, it's an opportunity to pay for your baby to play. So you finna waste how much? 300 times
Time and
five is
money.
what?
Shoot, time and
Huh?
money.
You feel
And
what I'm saying? So I think it's like basketball AAU is just it's hard, bro. Like it's a hard space, and I wouldn't even say it's an easy route, but I think it's a it's a route that's less stressful than the route that a lot of people are taking. If they want to say like I'm going to Rich, I'm going to Covina. Like if you're signing kids, majority of your kids every year, that's the program that you need to be going to. If they
Mm-hmm.
even if it's not a circuit team, if those kids are going to a D2, JUCOs, NAIA schools every year, if they sending kids off, that's the program you need to be thinking about going to or
Yeah.
getting better.
And let's talk about that. Like, and I talk about me personally. 'Cause this ain't gonna be no dig on anybody else.
Now
But
we talking about y'all, so it's fine.
realistically,
It's all right.
I'm okay with
Yeah.
that. But um, on the Texas, even on the Texas Elite side, I personally had a very good team. I had kids grabbing rims, dunking in Kentucky, all that kind of stuff. And every single one of them got to go to school, but it wasn't because it was putting them in a position to be seen is important, but it's all about, it doesn't have to be D1 or bust. And so many parents are on the D1 or bust
That's a
train.
fact.
And I am a junior college advocate. Like I mean, some of the best players that I've ever seen went junior college first. But the lack of education and lack of knowledge, the Bible says you'll perish. So these parents are not educated. And a lot of these parents follow their kids' friends instead of doing what's best for them as a parent and their kids' ability. And I think that's where a lot get messed up. You know, we got this new thing out here right now, and everybody's flocking to the new thing, okay? But the reality is, the new thing, they don't even know how to flow with it. They don't even know how to do a lot of it. But you're getting the kids because everybody flocks to the new. But the question should be, where are you putting my kid? How many you got in this position? And how you gonna get my kid seen? And we're not asking those questions.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So my thing is, do you think? So it says somebody says speaking from a coach, but not from a parent. B-ball guru, do you want to hop on?
I think B-Ball Guru was in them comments. I want him to hop on.
Oh, he a Twitter
I
finger
think
guy.
he might not be.
Uh,
So hopefully, but if he is, I think he was on the ones in them comments. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, well, if you a Twitter finger, you might as well show your face.
I don't know, B-Ball Guru. I might be wrong.
But
How you think, B-Ball?
Well, I'm coming, B-ball guru. I'm coming from a coach's perspective, not a parent.
that's what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what he said.
He's saying he want to hear
Oh,
from a
okay.
parent's perspective. I mean, we already had a parent perspective on here, but I
Yeah, she
think
shut it down. That's the benediction. We ain't got to bring no more parents on.
Yeah, she did what she needed to
so. Do
do.
you so
She did.
in a real world, are you any three of y'all are y'all paying to have your kid sit the bench, and at which level are you doing that?
That's a good question.
Grassroots level,
Yeah.
possibly. Not on the high school side. Grassroots, because most of them are playing multiple sports. But on that high school perspective, absolutely not.
So
Agree.
what's the I don't want to even say what's the minimum requirement as a parent. Um, what does that look like if you're not the star player? If you're a role player, what does that look like? For all y'all looking at, I mean, all y'all AAU directors. So on the flip side, from a parent's perspective, if you got a kid on another organization, what does that look like? You're paying money and your kid's not getting the bulk of the minutes.
You know what
What does that look
it
like?
is? You know what it is, man? And look, I don't care. It can be a committee. I don't care. Like a group of us that get together and educate parents. Because picking a club to play for is not a hard decision, right?
Well,
It's not that hard.
it's
It's
not.
no, it's
It's
not.
not.
If you know anything, you know what questions to ask. You walk into an environment where the team's doing what they do, you'll know if you know. You know what I mean? It's and like I said, I won't complain too much because some of the stuff, keeping it a buck, I benefit from, right?
Mm-hmm.
You a shoe club, automatically you better because you a shoe club. That's cool. I roll with that. I love it when it helps, right?
Right.
But I work hard to make sure that there are other things that we do that aren't just based on us being in the shoe club, right?
Hmm.
I mean, you could be a shoe club and be sorry, so that don't
But
mean
to his
nothing.
point,
But people
that's what
still
they
go there.
saying though.
People
That the
still
parents
go
don't.
there.
I'm not fooling with you,
Right.
Ed.
Look,
That's
again,
his point though. The
I'm not
parents they don't see that. They
again.
see shoe.
I'm not throwing no slugs. Like I'm a UA guy. I'm not throwing the slug at Nike, but I am. I could be an EYBL team and be terrible, and people still are gonna come,
Yep.
right?
That's a fact.
Yep.
That's a fact.
That's a
And
fact.
I've been on that side. I've been Nike before. That's the appeal because people coming through the door regardless.
Yeah.
Yep.
To a degree, it
Well,
happens.
I ain't been Nike before.
Well, it ha-
This UA stuff
it
is,
it
well, I ain't going to talk about it live, but
it happens. But look, it happens at all the shoe level. All shoe clubs benefit from some degree to that,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yes.
Fact.
I won't act like I'm innocent and I don't enjoy the benefits of that sometimes. But then also, like
I,
the other end, I like people to be like, dang, hey, they do this, this, and this. They're teaching this, this, and this. There is a curve. And to Kavina's point, every year there's a couple of things you're going to be able to count on. There's going to be a squad that you thought was good that isn't. There's going to be a squad that you thought wasn't good that's going to be really good. And there's going to be some new program that pops up that's going to catch a lot of juice every flipping year.
Yep.
And if you understand the curve, then you don't just frolic to that stuff so hard. Like, if we came off a good year last year, don't come to us because we came off a good year. We got a body of work. We've been doing this a minute, right?
But why not? But why not come to you though?
No,
That's
saying,
resort.
Because you're coming for the wrong motive and incentive.
but I'm saying
The wrong motive.
but you're coming based off hype, right? Just because, like, if I have a certain amount of kids or a certain level of kids, I may have a good year. But if I'm not doing the right stuff, like, I can go from here to here real quick.
Yeah.
Right? So it needs to be based on a body of work. It needs to be based on certain questions, right? And even when I'm talking to kids and I'm recruiting and I'm talking to their parents, and I know they're talking to other people, I'll tell them, hey, this is what, when they don't ask a lot of questions, this is what you should ask me, and this is what you need to ask them.
So,
right? And
you saying don't come to you because of the year you're based off, the previous year, basically.
No, I'm saying you can. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that move based on that stuff and put themselves in bad situations.
And that happens during the season. I have seen some kids who switched teams because the other team was doing really well, and then they got to that team and they were sitting the bench, or they got to that team and they didn't like it, or they got to that team and it didn't fit.
Look,
they went with the hype.
Look, the April transfer portal stuff, people don't keep receipts on that stuff. Who moved? How it turned out? You know what I mean? You left a team. Did that team get better when you left? You went to a team. Did they? It works. Like, all kind. People don't keep receipts on that stuff. So I just think people need to ask more of the right questions on the front end. Some of those conversations are hard, but again, I'm always, and I'm gonna keep that up for a while, and that'll be my challenge to everybody in our space. Like, volleyball, man, they don't have all that.
They don't.
They don't have all.
But you can't switch teams like that in volleyball either, though. No, you can't switch teams like that. My daughter played volleyball, and she stayed. Once you with that team, you got to be with that team for the rest of the season. Right? It is what it is. But I think that would make the game 10 times better. Muted yourself.
Who's that, Ash?
Nah, Kavina. She was saying something, but we couldn't hear her.
Hit the speaker button over there.
Now she froze.
No,
there we go.
No,
there we go.
I said the reality is most people don't have that moral. What you start is what you finish.
Yeah.
Now, can we talk about that though? Because I agree. But at the end of the day, and Rich, you just said it, parents not asking the right questions, whatever the case may be. But what if you got some of those kids who at the end of the day, they thought it was going to be a good fit, and it's just not a good fit? Are y'all saying good fit or not, you got to stay? Like, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's just not a good fit. Or sometimes Rich might
volleyball
say,
do it, and you got to stick it out. You got to figure it out.
I don't agree with that.
But volleyball signs contracts, Ed. Volleyball been signing contracts for years. So you can't hop from volleyball to volleyball team. You leave a team, you have to sit out.
But
you can't go from volleyball to volleyball team.
I don't agree for whatever reason. I don't agree. If a kid goes to a team, anything can happen. That coach could be on live. That coach, like, anything could happen. Are you just saying, oh, that kid got us? I've seen some kids who leave and have a great season. Like, sometimes it's just not the right fit.
But you know what? But you know what, Ash? Like, because I got one of my good friends, one of my homegirls, her daughters play volleyball. To Ed's deal, when you know you can't move and you don't have that freedom, right? You make sure you asking the right questions, and you make sure you making a.
Sometimes it's not about the right questions. Sometimes listen. Let me get what I'm saying. Let's say I go to Rich. I didn't ask all the questions. I went to Rich. I asked him the questions. I asked him how many people on the team. He say 8. Okay, we good. Where do you see my daughter? I see your daughter doing this. Okay, we good. What does the schedule look like? This is what the schedule look like. Okay, we good. Everything check off. Season start. Rich go and add 2 other players.
Yeah.
That wasn't in the conversation. Rich decides, I don't like her no more. She's sitting the bench. So you can ask all the right questions and it still
But I
don't
think
work
that's
out.
the part of the
But
game, though.
okay, but do you expect that kid just to stay? That's not fair to
No,
that kid.
it
That's
forces
not
that
fair.
kid to get better. That's what it does. It forces that kid to get
I don't
better.
agree with
If I
that.
bring in 2 kids that's better than your kid,
I'm
then
not
you got to get better.
okay,
And
but
that's the problem. That's what we talking about.
that's tough.
Get
I don't
better.
agree with that. That's
That's the
tough.
problem. Get better.
I agree with you,
Get
Ashley. I think
better.
That's
that's tough.
tough.
It'd be one thing if I brought a kid on and I had 7 kids and I say, hey, I'm looking to add 2 more come May. That's one thing. But if you ask me my number is 8 and then I add 2 more, then I really didn't tell you the whole truth.
And that's
Don't
different.
the
So,
big
so
thing
what,
is don't take away people's
what you say?
choices.
Yes,
What you
that's what
say,
I'm
Kabina,
saying.
earlier? You say you preparing people to where they're going, right? They're going to college, right? And that's like a recycle
But
bin. You keep players
but
coming in,
but you
right?
just
Every
said
year, right?
you're preparing them to go to college. They gotta get there. So if the kid
So
is
it forces
sitting,
them to get better. You got to
I
get
don't
better.
agree
At the end of the
with
day,
that one.
you got to get better.
Of
Because if you get to the
course, you
next,
always
if
got to
you
get
get to the
better. But
next
Come on,
level,
Rich, you over here mute. This is your podcast, homeboy.
who, me?
Rich, don't be mute. Don't be acting
No,
good. Say
yeah.
your
What are you
piece.
talking about? Like, I'm letting everybody flesh their.
listen,
Bro, you got
and
to get better in my
I
eyes,
agree.
bro.
You got to get better at all times. Whether you got 5 people or 10 people, you always got to get
So
better.
what's the point?
But what I'm saying, if I am a parent and I am vetting out a situation and this coach has answered everything and the season start and it's totally different,
Mm-hmm.
that parent should have a choice. Am I going to stick with this or am I going to find a
Yeah.
different fit? Because
No.
what I thought might be a fit is I know if I got a kid and it's not a right fit, I'm not gonna look at my kid be miserable. I'm not gonna look at my kid and
But
say,
that's
get
always
better.
the first
I'm not
option, though.
I'm not gonna look at my kid and say, well, just get better. Yes, we're gonna work to get better at the end of the day. And you're gonna have to prove yourself. Okay, we thought it was 8, now it's 10. But if it's not a good situation, if that coach ain't who they said they was, if it's very different, I'm not gonna force my kid to sit in a unhappy situation. I'm not doing that.
Okay. Okay. So let's say he said it was 8. He brings in 10 people. So your first option is saying, "Oh, I'm a bounce," just because
No,
he brought
no,
in
that's
10
not what
people.
I'm saying. I'm not. Well, that's not
So
what I'm
you're
saying. That was a
gonna. So
that was a
what is your
part.
first conversation gonna be with your kid? Not the
What
coach.
you just said, but I was talking about multiple things. That was just a part of it. But let's say because you do add people, I'm
Right.
not saying so. If it went from 8 to 10, yes, you're working. Now we got to figure something out. I'm saying if it's not a good fit, that was a part of it. If
So it's just
you
not a
got
good
if you
fit
got if
because
you
what?
got more people, if you got more
Uh-huh.
people on the team, if coach is not playing you at all, if the coach probably don't like the way you play, if it's not a good environment, if the culture is like things can change. If those 2 people like
So
a lot of stuff can
he
happen.
liked the way you played when you had 8 people, but he don't like
No,
the
no,
way
no,
you
no.
play when you
I'm
get
saying
10.
in general. Like you're just taking parts of what I'm saying. In
Yeah,
general.
you're missing what she's
Yeah.
saying. You're stuck on the one part, and she's talking about as a
As a
whole.
whole, if it's not a right fit, I'm not gonna have my kid be somewhere that's not a right fit. If my goal is to play college basketball, I have to get there first.
That's true. You
So
do.
I have to be in the right situation.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
So I'm about to blow this up. Let's just be real transparent and
Mm-hmm.
honest. Most high profile kids or kids that can play at the next level, these parents have watched for quite some time. They know what the hell they getting into when they come over there. I'm so tired of that bull
I agree
dookie
with that too.
because they watching you because they unhappy half of the time where they are. So they walking around the gym
See,
looking at these other
I
teams.
agree with that.
Stop that shit. Let's just be honest
I agree
about it.
with that too.
That's a bunch of bull. So for it not to be a good fit, it's one thing if a parent has never navigated these waters before. I can receive all of that. But most of these parents, they shopping while they shopping while they shopping. So
they never fully in.
what? Never. You're lukewarm, as the Bible says.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I
Okay.
agree with
So
that.
let's just be honest about it. Most of them have. It's like college recruiting. They have a list. Okay, they don't have a list one. I'm going to this one. They don't have this one. I'm going to this one. They're just not honest about it. We as coaches that we really care about the kids, we're going to take you because we actually feel that we can help you, not because we necessarily need you.
I agree.
Because it's on the flip
No,
side.
no.
There's some
I'm
directors
not.
out here,
Look,
like,
if I need you, 95% of the time, I've already got you, or I'm already having this conversation.
so why they keep playing for free? If you don't need them.
Who said they play for free for me?
But
again, so you need that
but
kid.
free doesn't necessarily mean it's not a need for them to play free. Some people dangle that carrot, but some people actually have very good male and female athletes and just need a break. Two different things. I'm not saying that free is not there, but what I am saying is it shouldn't always be the first thing to come out these parents' mouth.
Well, you know what happens? You know what happens when you start throwing that free stuff around? And I've seen it on the girls' side. Again, this is the benefit of doing this for like 20, 25, 26 years or whatever. On the boys' side, out of control. When it started over here. On the girls' side, what it does is it starts devaluing everybody's product.
Yep.
Right? So I'm going to go over here because I don't have to pay and this, and this, when this could be the best place for you and you got paid. So there's so many different.
And that go back to, I had a conversation with somebody and I was saying, let's say, I don't like speaking of kids' names, but let's say Ariana Robinson, one of the best 28s in the country. You know what I'm saying? I think she was playing. She gonna play with pro skills, whatever the case may be. But let's say you had the opportunity to get her, you let her ride for free, or you letting her walk because she gotta pay.
But it's also based on, do I need you? Are you gonna flat out shift me?
Every program in the country won't don't do me like that.
I'm not saying, don't do me like that. Look, I'm not saying that I wouldn't take her. My point is, I'm giving you the flip side to this.
But you know the problem? I'm gonna say this probably hurts some people's feelings.
But you can't have.
I think we can all agree. Look, I think we all can agree that kid is a certain level. The problem is that if you get 30 kids and parents in the room, all of them think their kids are as good as her.
Yeah.
That's
but you gotta be honest and upfront as a director, though.
But us being honest has nothing to do with how they feel.
But if you upfront and honest from the jump, though, they got a choice to pay their money or not.
Oh yeah.
But that goes back to what you said. If we're too honest and upfront, they bouncing anyway.
Yeah.
So they go back.
So that puts us in a catch-22.
But I feel like at the end of the day, like it goes back to like that's part of the game. Like you're gonna have some people walk. You know what I'm saying? If you upfront and honest, like Rich, I still think like if you upfront and honest, you're gonna have some people walk. But I still think you're gonna sign 8 out of 8 kids. You know what I'm saying? Could be in the same thing. Drive, whoever, pro skills. Like I feel like those organizations are still going to produce the talent or produce the results. Whether they walk or not, whether you're upfront and honest or not, you're still going to be able to produce just because of the connections that y'all have at the next level. You're going to sign 8 out of 8 kids. You're going to sign 9 out of 10 kids.
But the parents have to trust that process too. That if that's what they want, they got to trust you as a AAU coach and a director and trust that process. You might not sign in November. Your signing may be in May. But if we're going to do this together, you have to trust this process.
And I agree with that. I do agree with that.
You know what? It's like you got different rooms because a lot of what we're talking about, just to be honest, is for kids that are really going to be mid-major and down.
Yes,
It's
Mm.
P5, a P4 kids and stuff. These rules don't apply. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
They just don't. But I think
I can agree with that.
again, it's just people understanding what bucket they're in, and people don't know what bucket they're in, either because they're not receptive to it, or they just don't know, or they're hopeful, or whatever. But if you're that mid-major, like some of these decisions are crucial. Again, I'm not going to throw any names out, but I saw a kid that is clearly, because I talked to her high school coach yesterday, a kid that's clearly mid to upper mid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she signed to a D2. Nothing wrong with that, right? But she signed to that D2 because that's the
Because of
only opportunity she had.
yep,
She went somewhere chasing an aesthetic rather than going, asking the right questions and going to what was the right fit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this kid's probably going to go D2 and blow up. And hopefully, the environment's there is good, all this kind of stuff. But it's like, man, she's talented as
yep.
hell. And it's like, man, like I could have got so on her. She's definitely a mid to upper mid kid. And I think when you're talking about these decisions, a lot of the stuff we're talking about is so important for these mid-major and down kids because your decisions really are going to impact your kid. You're a
Yes, and can
P4 type
cost
talent,
you,
you can
and can
play for
cost you.
anybody. You a P4 kid, you can play for anybody. Mid-major and down, playing for the wrong program, like Ash said, can cost you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So you got to really know what you're doing. And you can't follow the flock sometimes. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, everybody's going over there and
So,
this. You can't just go because of that. You better know what's best
so
for your
Ashley,
kid.
I think you need to get all four of us need to do a panel, a AAU education panel. You got two directors on here. You guys see some of the top players in the country. Ed's traveled a lot this past year. You've been doing your Thug Mizzle. And let's just have a flat out, honest, candid conversation and podcast about it. Like just a show flat out dedicated to it. Bring people on, because the lack of knowledge will perish. And 95% of these decisions is because people make that because they don't have the
That's a
knowledge.
fact.
And I agree with Rick. He brought up extremely valid point in the aspect of with the conversations that we mainly have on these platforms, it's for mid-major kids.
Yep,
So now
that's
my
true.
question is to y'all directors: do y'all have that one-on-one conversation with the kids before they even? Well, do you know they're a mid-major kid before they even suit up for you?
Absolutely. If you've watched them, you know exactly where they can go.
Now, and it
You
could
have
change,
some
but you
kids
have an
that they can
idea.
be on the
Say it one
cutoff.
more time, Ashley.
Yeah,
No, I was
What
saying,
you say, Ash?
like Kavina said, like you got an idea. Now that can change. They might go out
yeah.
and
They can
kill it.
be on the cusp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I have one, and I ain't gonna say her name,
Mm-hmm.
but athletically, she's a Power 5 kid.
Mm-hmm.
But is she ready for that? Why not just play D1 and be free? You, you, you know. So, but I think parents have to be receptive to knowing that their kids ain't that, and that's the other navigation part too, the education piece.
So that's my thing. I think that conversation isn't being had too, from AAU directors, parents. Because I mean, if somebody came and told me, "Hey man, your baby, I don't think she Power 5, Power 4, but I think she can go mid-major," I'm gonna be like, "Okay, why you think that?" Well, I look at this player. I'm comparing now. You have to get a comparison of what a Power 4 player looks like in order for me to understand that. If I have never played the game before, if I never played the game before, then I'm gonna be like, oh, okay. Because at the end of the day, I'm always believe the best for my kid as a parent, as you should. But I think as a director, coach, I think those conversations need to be had. Right now, before we kind of go into the season, these are the connections I have. But I think your kid is gonna fall in this line of play. Like they're gonna be a mid-major kid.
Uh,
I don't, that's just me. I ain't on
Look,
the director side, so I'm
I'm
asking.
laughing at because a lot of people, man, and again, I'm not knocking, because the fraternity is the fraternity. I'm very protective of it, but I think there's a lot of people out there that are running teams program. They don't know what their connections are.
Yeah, or they
And,
don't know what level they kid. They
look,
don't know it. They don't know a lot.
if you ask the average parent, name me 5 Power 5 schools, they'll nail it.
Yeah, yeah.
Name me 5 mid-major schools. Name me 5 lower D1 schools. They don't understand the levels,
Yep.
right? You know, if you talk conferences, some of them don't know what conference some of these schools are in, right?
Yep.
So tell them, hey, there's a big difference from playing in the SWAC or playing in the Colonial versus the SEC. They don't get it. Like, my baby's
Hmm.
playing the SEC. Like, really? You know what I'm saying? Patriot, like, ACC, they don't understand. So I think, you know, I don't know what the answer is for that, but I just think some of those intricate pieces people don't understand. Like, your kid may be better off playing in a lesser conference. You know, I've had kids go to the SEC and it wasn't the best fit.
Right.
After a year, they go somewhere else and they flourish, right?
So
So
do you help them? Do you help them make some decisions, or if they ask you, I guess.
I don't help with decisions, but I inform them the most
Yeah.
I can.
Right.
You know, and try to do
Hey,
a
so
job with that.
Sonya said, I like this. She said, do you all have data to back up your assessment, or is that data that project accurately how it's measured?
You
So,
know what? I'll throw a plug in here. I'm throwing the plug. So it's something, we got some camps coming up that I'll have my hands in. We're doing BAM testing, and I'm doing that with another. It's the guy that runs Triumph. He's on the boys side, UA. So we're kind of collaboratively getting together, doing some stuff. But BAM testing is one of those things where you get in, you do the combine stuff like John Lucas, they have it as part of their deal. But just little stuff like that, you go through that deal and you have parents like, hey, my kid's a D1 athlete. You go through this BAM testing based on how you metric out. It'll tell you where you fall compared to millions of other players, right? So little stuff like that helps just from an athletic standpoint, um, helps parents evaluate where their kids are. And again, that's some of the stuff on the basketball level they're missing. Everything is oohs and feels and
Mm-hmm.
emotional responses, but it's not tangible. Where's the analytics? Where are the metrics? Where are the things like BAM testing, stuff like that that we overlook and we think is doing too much, but we're leaving too much up for opinion. And when we do
Yeah.
that, that's why it's all over the place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there has to be some.
So my question is, I'm sorry, go ahead,
No, you
finish.
good?
So my question is, does that matter more on the boy side or the girl side? Because you're doing it with the boys.
Definitely on the girl side. It means just as much. Again, we're talking about athletically metric system, right? Just to kind of see where you are. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So if you got all these players and you know that there is a certain average, you know, number for players that are in the SEC, and I'm just throwing the number, say it's a 25 and you're at a freaking 12, well, that should tell you something.
right.
You know what I mean? That stuff, there has to be something that's tangible that we can fall back on other than just looks and feels. That's why I like more of the metrics and stuff. When we're talking analytics, when we're talking scores and
Then create it for the girls, Rich. Let's
I
go.
think it.
I
I
Get it,
mean,
get
think.
it going on the girls'
I
side.
think
I'm
yes. I
throwing a
think
plug.
I think the metrics is cool. Analytics is cool because I think they do play a part.
Yeah.
But I think when that comes into play, I think people get lazy. I think the recruiters get lazy, like the scouts get lazy, because now they're relying too much on that.
On
Now
numbers.
it
Yeah.
takes out the feel because you need the eye test. You
You
do
know
need
what?
the eye test.
But I'll tell you this, Ed, look, man, when it comes to, and again, this is why parents need to be more locked into this stuff and looking at stats and all this kind of stuff. Because every year, when it comes to transfer portal stuff and
Mm-hmm.
people looking around, I got kids. I've had a couple of kids within our program, and then I just help whoever. So some people I've been associated with, they come, hey, Rich, can you help me? And I'm like, okay, let me go reach out to the school. The first thing when I talk to one of these other schools, hey, I got a kid in the portal, think they may be a good fit for you. Do you think they can play, Rich? Yeah, they can play. Hey, what did she do at her school? What were her stats? Right? And if them stats don't line out, that conversation is gonna go south quick.
Right.
That's just period. I don't care what anybody says. Like I've been on those calls, like kids that I know can hoop. They went to a school, it wasn't a good fit, they didn't get the right burn, their numbers don't look that high. Then you try to send them somewhere else where you know it's a fit, but the numbers didn't bear it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you got to be sensitive to that stuff, especially in that
Yeah.
transfer. Like it comes
Yeah.
up a lot. So the numbers are all, I mean, they look at numbers way more in college than we do, like way more. Because it's productivity. So I think we just, like I said, less of an emotional response in how we move sometimes on stuff and more analytics and numbers
Yeah.
would help a ton. 'Cause, like, I'll throw y'all a question. I'm going to shut up for a while. Like, if we're talking 2026, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the kids that we think are this, and this. Okay, who's averaging the most points? What do their rebound numbers look like? What do their assist numbers look like? What do their turnover numbers look like? We just out here saying, hey, this kid's number one, this kid's number two, this. We're not looking at any metrics. And then you got a kid that's 25, they go on a rip and have a couple of good games, and then all of a sudden we boost them up to 4. But then you go see their
Mm-hmm.
numbers, and their numbers were always tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
got some kids right now hooping, they're putting up some crazy numbers, but we're not looking at that stuff. We're going for oohs and feelings,
Yeah.
right? Instead of looking at numbers don't tell the whole case, but they do tell a story. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Savannah, you about to say something?
But nah, man. This is good combo. I think
This was really good. This is
this
probably
one
one of
was
my favorite ones.
yeah. This was good. I think it was a lot of transparency in this one.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I'm saying? Just a lot of just being open up and just keeping it honest. At the end of the day, I mean that's the only way this game in this space is going to grow. Like it's already enough liars, enough people. You know what I'm saying? Corrupt in the game. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It is what it is. A fact. Um, But I think the more you could be truthful, not worry about, let your results do the talking. Like if you sending people off to college every year, oh, that's a dub at the end of the day.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like can't nobody say nothing about Texas U, Texas Elite, whoever. Like if you get the results every year, it ain't too much people can say about it. So that's how I look at the situation. But yeah, I appreciate y'all hopping on, giving y'all comments. Appreciate you, Ash. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ash, I'm still waiting on my personal invite.
Oh, they ain't gonna do
I
me.
got you. It's
Oh, hold
coming.
on. One more question before we get off. It says, how do you compare two players' numbers when the quality of their opposition can vary so much?
Is that to me? Since I was talking all the numbers,
I guess
you,
so.
you, you know what? That's when you got to look at everything as a whole, right? And in the same vein, like when forget the numbers, we're talking about the oohs and feels and stuff of when you're not looking at numbers and you're looking at mixtapes and all that kind of stuff. I'm telling you, the first thing I do, and I have to train myself, when I look at mixtapes and stuff now, I look at who they playing against.
Yep.
These kids think,
Mm-hmm.
oh, they crossing over little Sarah or little Becky or whoever, right? Kids that can't play and they doing all stuff. I'm like, man, you're not playing nobody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I think that always comes into play, and that's the difference. We're talking high school stuff between 6A, 5A, 4A, that kind of stuff. But I think that's pretty easy. I'm not saying like give a kid that's at 2A school playing nobody that's averaging 30, say they're as good as a kid in 6A that's scoring 20. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's common knowledge, but you still got to look at that stuff and make some educated comparisons, right? At
Mm-hmm.
some point, you hope they got some common people that they play and stuff like that. And I think like from the era I came from, that's what was so good about club ball back in the day when it was a little more condensed and it wasn't so daggone saturated, right?
Mm-hmm.
It felt like you got these kids, they're spread out during the high school season. You didn't get to see them play against each other. But during the club season, oh, they going to bang. Like you're going to see that.
Yeah.
How many club seasons do we have go by where there's certain matchups we want to see, we don't see? You know what I
Yeah.
mean, so
Yeah.
you know, it's hard to make those comparisons. So but that was a good question. But yeah, I think you just gotta look at everything in totality. So
Yeah. Lefty, you
Got
late.
you.
We about to hop off.
Right. You're late, boy.
hey, appreciate that stuff, man. Good
Yes,
stuff.
sir.
Keep it up, Ed.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
That's
y'all.
good. Lefty, the topic was about AAU, but we hopping off.
All
Appreciate
right.
y'all. Y'all use code
Yeah.
LIVE to get some merch. It's just differentapparel.com. 15% off. Go get some merch. It's just
Get some merch.
differentapparel.com.
Hop in the university. Do it all.
Do it. Do it all.
All right, now.